You completely got me off guard. I actually had like some ice in my mouth because I was just drinking. But sorry about that, Brett. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm great.
Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, yeah, I'm a little starstruck to be honest with you. I mean, like everybody else and numerous Canadians, you're my favorite of all time. And I guess I wanted to say thanks for taking the time to do this. We really, really appreciate it. It really means a lot to all of us, as you can probably tell. So, with that being said, I kind of want to ask you a two-part question. Um, Back in 2003, uh, I think you were in Italy traveling. Is that correct? You might have been at the Milan, in Milan.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2003, I got a call from my mom from Italy, and my mom's a flight attendant, and she let me know that you were at the bar that she was at actually. So nicely enough, you actually tracked her down and slid a autograph under the door for her. And I was just wondering, like, do you remember that experience at all? I'm sure you've had a lot like that, but maybe my mom will ring a bell.
I don't remember it happening, but I mean, I like to make people that are nice to me, that are fans. If
And
someone
you're from Canada?
nice to see you. Was she the recipient of that autograph?
She was
No,
actually,
he
yeah.
was actually.
Yeah, she.
He
For
was a
you.
little guy at the time.
Well,
It was 18 years ago.
I do my best to accommodate all my fans. I really do. I appreciate fans. I I find it really bothers me when I meet wrestlers that don't treat fans very good and pretend that they're not worthy of like their time. I appreciate every fan I got. I still have a really strong fan base today. I think because of that. I mean, I've always, even when I wrestled in years and years in the WWE, I always try to sign as many autographs walking down the ramp into the building when I pulled up. And I know that fans were always surprised, the guys like Razor Ramon and Lex Luger, or different guys who walked right past them like they didn't have time to sign autographs. But I always made a point of signing as many autographs as I could get away with. I just appreciate my fans, and it's not that hard. I always have people say, one more picture. If I could just get one picture with you, and it's like, I don't mind. I never see these pictures. I mean, someday I hope there's millions of pictures of me, like 200 years from now, people, can see them. That they're, I never mind. I think, when I think of probably, if you look back and over the years, you think of all the famous wrestlers that there were in the 30s and 40s, you never see pictures of them anymore. They probably took as many pictures as I do.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to do it sometime for prosperity and to live on. I just a few days ago, somebody sent me a picture of me wrestling in Stampede Wrestling. I think it was a live action shot with me and it was holding a guy in a headlock, but it brought back a good memory for me. And so I never mind taking time to take pictures or sign autographs, especially if, with somebody that's a big fan and it would really mean a lot to them, and it's just they don't have a pen, and it's like, I'm not sure how it worked with your mom, but maybe she said that, if I could give an autograph, it's like it's not that hard.
You actually picked up the phone and you tried to call me.
Well, like I say, always try to do my best to, especially if you treated me like.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, that was one of the greatest things that you could have done for me. And again, like you don't even remember it. I'm sure you've done this for a million fans, right? So I mean, you kind of touched base on this before with Steven, and I'm happy you didn't answer the point that I wanted to ask about the Yoko match in WrestleMania 9. So in WrestleMania 9, I know that you didn't like the ending of the match. You always mentioned that there was a part B that you would plan with him.
Yeah, there was. It was like a whole. I had two parts to the match. One was what you saw, and we had it wasn't a big part, but it was a really exciting part. I can't remember what it is. I actually believe I got it written down somewhere on a piece of paper, and I was going, that's it. There's the spot that the spots that we didn't do. And there just would have been some good false finishes and some back and forth, up and down stuff that would have been different than the stuff that we had we never did it before. And I remember we never ever did it again. Never in any other match. I remember I was so mad about it. I crumpled it up. Like I didn't crumple it up. I still got it. But as far as doing, I remember because it was Yoko's loss.
Right.
It would have been. It would have been. I thought the match, as it was the best match Yoko ever had. It was actually a really intense, really good match for that time period. Anyway.
Yeah, he probably moved. He moved a lot in that match in comparison to, of course, later years and even before then as well. So, yeah,
The part we didn't do would have just been despite the ending. The ending was so lousy, But as bad as it was, and even if it had been a different ending, like where Yoko just, sat on me and pinned me, it would have made the match better. It would have been a much better match. But
yeah.
the fact that I think he just he ran out of gas, which is the kind of thing you have to worry about guys that are that size. He ran out of gas and went home, like what we call in wrestling. When he went home, he just went into the ending, and that's why watch it. Yoko goes into the ending premature, editing out, like cutting out the whole ending because we couldn't change it once he went for where I had him his legs in the sharpshooter kind of thing. If you watch that, Mr. Fuji's not ready. He doesn't have the powder. He had to dig it out and get it and take it out, and took him forever to, actually Fuji saved the day for Yoko because those drumsticks of his were some pretty heavy drumsticks. That me putting him in a sharpshooter was fiction all the way. There's no way. I mean, he had to stretch his legs, and I would have flipped out of the ring. It was impossible. I remember going. I just wanted to see if I could get his legs up and hold him in that position, and it looked like I had him in the sharpshooter, which worked. It looked like I had him in the sharpshooter, but Fuji, he didn't have time. Remember, Fuji was such an old pro that he took his time and got it out and threw the powder, and it all came off. But I remember my fingers were turning blue trying to hold Yoko's leg. But I was so mad. I wasn't mad about the ending because I'd already sort of sensed, I kind of knew what was coming. But I really wanted to have a great match with Yoko. And I remember, like, before we walked out, I said, this is going to be the greatest match he ever had. This is going to be really, really special for him. And I wanted to do that for Yoko. And when I think he blew up. Either that or he decided that he didn't want to do it. But I don't know why he wouldn't have wanted to do it. It would just made the match better. But it's one of those things that was lost to the ages now. We never ever did another match. I was so mad about it that I remember I kind of said, I'll never do it. It's gone. And it's like, I look at a lot of my wrestling matches like writing a song. Like someone like Paul McCartney wrote Hey Jude or whatever. But me, I put so much thought and energy into conceiving one move after another and putting the whole match together. That to me, it's like if you ask me, like Wembley as an example, or the Iron Man match with Shawn, or the match I had with Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13. I wouldn't take out any move. I wouldn't add any more. It's like it's perfect. It's the perfect song, like the match. And when somebody screws up like what happened with Yoko, we're never going to do that song again, and that's lost. And I love my matches for that reason. I don't know that other wrestlers make the same comparison. Like, it doesn't really matter what the next move is. To me, every move matters. And sometimes you got to slow the pace down so that when you do this other move, you get the reactions you need. And I was one of those kind of guys that was very methodical and kind of every single move was planned. Like, what happens after this move? This is what happens. This is what happens next, and then this, and then this. And I don't complicate them. They're always just natural things. Like in wrestling today, I mean, I watch wrestlers, they throw somebody in the ropes and they got to throw the big duck, the punch, and it's a duck this, and it's all this elaborate stuff. If you throw somebody in the ropes and you just catch them with an elbow, like a really good, solid elbow when you take the bump down, isn't that more believable? Like, it's more realistic, than watching somebody like throw one of those honky-tonk punches where they miss by about 10 feet. And then there's all these dipsy-do kind of moves. Sometimes simple is better. And I think a lot of wrestlers today should just go back to being more simple. They complicate the wrestling where it looks so unreal today. You know, sometimes simple things like all the years I wrestled, whenever I saw wrestlers in the 60s and 70s when they threw somebody in the ropes and they drop down and they come up with a big run, like they caught him with a knee in the gut, and you always see the wrestler take the big bump rolling around. You know, it's old, and it was just a knee in the gut, but you know they always look great. I mean, you always watch it and went, "Oh, that had to hurt," you know. And sometimes you simplest things you can get the most mileage out of, and then you don't have to complicate the wrestling with all these moves that don't necessarily look real. You know?
Yeah, and sometimes things are safer too, right? I mean, like that's why everybody tries to emulate the heart attack still, because it's just such a perfect move, and you can keep the opponent safe as well as yourself. So
Heart attack move was I remember watching Hawk and Animal doing their move on different guys, and I remember going, geez, every time they did it, the guy that got the clothesline off Joe's shoulders landed right on his head, and I remember going, that's too dangerous. Like that's a dangerous move. Somebody's going to get hurt someday. And I don't know how many guys did get hurt from that move. But I remember thinking about the heart attack was like, you know, pull the guy to the ground. Actually, it's not even a stiff. The move that the Heart Foundation did, the heart attack, was the guy that got hurt on that was me. I had landed right on my back and take the blow. The guy that got clothesline, a lot of guys panicked and always thought they were gonna get hurt on my move. But the truth is that you just set them. Jim would just set them straight down. It's basically just a back bump. It's not a big elaborate bump. It looked good and it didn't get. And you're right. It never hurt anybody.
awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, I don't want to take so much time from everybody else who's waiting. So, I mean, Bret, we all love you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Tell your mom.
Thanks, Eric.